Hi, it's Jeff Terrell again, Program Director at Planet Fitness and Athletic Center. This is another episode of Thursday Thoughts. So today, I want to talk a little bit about comparisons, comparing ourselves to other people in general. So I think it's human nature, maybe. I assume it must be, because this comes pretty naturally, I think, to most people to compare ourselves to others. And I think there's two major pitfalls and two extremes we can fall into with this. I think one of the most common, unfortunately, for a lot of people, in society and that I have interactions with, especially people that are new to fitness, is comparing ourselves to others that are not really in great shape or don't take very good care of themselves, or don't value their quality of life or health and fitness that much. Maybe don't have as much good of a work ethic, whatever it might be. So a couple examples. So a few weeks back, I was meeting with a new client and an older individual, and they made the comment that they're in a lot better shape than most people they knew their age, and that's very well was probably could have been a true statement. I don't think that's a good way to look at things, a good perspective to have on life, to have on your ability, your capabilities, because unfortunately the reality is, statistically speaking, most people in the United States, we're getting in worse and worse shape every year, every generation. We're becoming more obese, we're becoming less functional, we're dying, we're having chronic preventable diseases at earlier and earlier ages. So to say, well, I'm better off than most people in my age group or my demographic or whatever, you're better off than a really poor standard in the United States, at least. A good example is too, when I was working for Toyota down in San Antonio, Texas, we would do new hire testing and collect data for Toyota. And one of the things we measured was body fat percentage. And a lot of the people there would ask us, San Antonio at the time, I believe, had the second highest obesity population in the United States. I'm not sure if it's still that way or not, but so it wasn't uncommon to get people in the 30, 35, 40, 45% body fat, and several times we had people that were over 50% to where the biological impedance machine would not pick that up. They're not calibrated to be able to pick up that high of a body fat percentage. And a lot of times people would ask, well, what is, what's normal, what's average? And I think I maybe understand what they are asking. I think is hopefully what's healthy, what's good as far as overall health and risk factors. But what's normal, what's average, especially in San Antonio, that population was not good. It was average and normal was overweight and obese. But that's not a good standard to compare yourself to. We don't want to compare ourselves to other people who don't value their health, don't value their quality of life, who don't value longevity, who don't value be able to go and do whatever they want whenever they want, physically, mentally speaking. So I think to compare ourselves to other people who have poor health, poor standards, that's not. I don't think that's very the way to go. I think it's better to look at yourself and see can I do better today than I did yesterday? And the answer for everybody is always yes. Now, the other extreme to compare ourselves to others, especially nowadays, now with the internet, Instagram, and Facebook, and how easy it is to see what everybody in the world is doing, is to compare ourselves to the genetic elite, to people at the very pinnacle of whatever it might be. So in the world of health and fitness, you may be looking at bodybuilders, bikini models, physique competitors, athletes, CrossFit athletes, at the CrossFit Games. It might be, for me as a competitive powerlifter, I can go on Instagram and I can look at what the top 10 powerlifters in the world in my weight class are doing. And if that becomes your world, it greatly skews your reality. You're looking at at images of that are oftentimes photoshopped, that have the perfect lighting, that are done after dieting down for a photo shoot, whatever it might be. That's not normal. That's not the reality, and that's not even what those people look like all the time. And you're looking at the genetic elite, so that's not. That gives you a skewed perception, and oftentimes that can give us some major self-esteem issues. So, that can really affect your psyche and make you feel like you're not that good. You know that no matter what you do, you're not good enough, because you can always find somebody online that looks better than you, that can perform better than you, whatever it might be. So I think both those extremes can set you up. You know, one sort of sets you up for, you know, mediocrity at best, you know, and at worst, you know, it sets you up to sort of be, you know, one of the people in the population sort of dragging us, you know, down from a health perspective, from a fitness perspective, you know, that's not living up to the potential that your body was created to be able to have, you know. So that's, you know, the one way is to compare yourselves to other people who aren't doing everything they can with the genetics and with the body they were given. The other extreme is to only look at people who are, you know, under perfect circumstances, that are sort of the genetic elite, you know, and get down on yourself because you aren't what they are, and you never will be what they are, because you have a different genetic, you know, deck of cards dealt to you, so to speak. So I think the one thing that, you know, it's hard, you know, but just for your own sake, and to always be able to push yourself at the same time, is to compare ourselves against ourselves. So there's virtually no such thing as somebody who is a non-responder to diet, to exercise. You can always get a little bit faster. You can always become a little more agile. You can always get your balance a little bit better. You can always get a little bit stronger. You can always get a little bit more muscle. You can always lose a little bit of fat. You know, and at a certain point, the further up that chain, up that ladder you climb, the harder it becomes, the more effort it takes to see improvements. But you can always still improve on your own potential. You can always get closer to your genetic ceiling. And there, by all means, is a genetic ceiling. Anybody that tries to deny that there's a top threshold, you know, hasn't looked at the research, hasn't looked at data very closely in all reality. But you can always improve a little bit, and you can always work to try to push that envelope a little bit better. So you can always better yourself from where you are today. You know, so so compared to where you are, compared to where you started, compared to where you're going, and then on that same token, though, you know, take your life into account. So comparing yourself, you know, to yourself in high school or in college, you know, to where you are now, if you're 56 years old and you've had 4 or 5 kids, multiple surgeries, hormone profile's different, you're in a different place. So certain things, you know, you might not be able to do the same that you did then, but you can still do better tomorrow than you did today. You know, so even comparing ourselves to our best self 20 years ago, you know, it might not be feasible. But again, you can always get better today. You can always get better tomorrow. So small baby steps, you can always see improvements. So like I said, just look to comparing how you are today to yesterday, and we'll take it one day at a time. Set small, you know, measurable goals for yourself, and celebrate the milestones and the achievements when you do best, your previous best, and enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, and just always strive to get a little bit better, and see what your body's really capable of. Thanks. Have a great night.